Enhancing community policing, literature review. Community policing ordinarily refers to the cooperation that exists between society members and law enforcement agencies in maintaining law and order. Several things can be done by the community to enhance the success of such operations in an area, and this is what community policing focuses on. Fielding, in his book Community Policing, speaks of what an effective community policing program should look like. This includes having the correct plans at the right time. The author speaks of when times are set out for the police to put on civilian clothes and interact with civilians. Further, the reporting standards are to be set straight, job descriptions set straight, and creativity enhanced in the administration of community policing. New strategies ought to be set up and documented with clear descriptions of roles for those involved. Another person, Palmiotto, looks at it differently. In the book Community Policing, a policing strategy for the 21st century, current strategies that could be applied in approaching community policing are discussed by the author. The selection of one should vary from one place to another, having borne in mind all the considerations. The author also emphasizes implementation. It requires that the implementation be procedural and well conducted. This doesn't end here, since Friedmann in the book Community Policing, Comparative Perspectives and Prospects, has a go at the various attitudes of police officers and every other stakeholder that are involved in ensuring security is assured. The author focuses on how a super agency can be set up by the collaboration of the various stakeholders, among them universities, individual citizens, community representatives, and the private sector. Proper weaving of all these is necessary for ensuring community policing is achieved. Schaffer sets out his understanding of community policing in the book Community Policing. Here, the author sets out a procedure to be followed in solving small and serious offenses that affect the community. These include the community policing procedure and the involvement of local authorities in the solutions to challenges that meet the community. Probable solutions are given to certain scenarios that would save time and have the correct measures in place. The book is also very relevant in coming up with the best community policing programs with follow-through guidelines. Other persons have aired their views on community policing. Skogan and Hartnett, in a book titled Community Policing, The Chicago Style, express how an effective community policing strategy can be implemented concerning the Chicago style. The authors proceed to give an elaborate definition of what community policing is to lay a sound background for any new establishments. This is done by first understanding the nature of the American gang. The advice given is that autonomy for line officers is vital. Secondly, decentralization of operation and flexibility in decision-making is stressed. An effective community policing model is suggested by the book. Proper procedures are to be followed for effectiveness. The weight of this issue cannot be underestimated. Rotz, in the book Community Policing, a handbook for beat cops and supervisors, gives ample advice to supervisors of community policing on the best strategies to follow. Planning is the essence. Staffing, control, direction, and communication are equally important. There needs to be an apt feedback loop that will enable recommendations, corrections, and measurement of performance to be implemented. The inclusion of persons in community policing should be thoughtful, including municipal workers, health workers, and other departments that have contact with the community. In the book Community Policing in America, Wilson talks of the applicability of community policing in various municipals across the U.S., and the implementation and success that has been realized by this program. By use of data from different regions in the U.S., the author draws an interlink between the organizational structures and the community policing. Further, the book does look at the various policy implications that are affected by community policing in the U.S. Preparedness is vital before getting into community policing, since several effects accrue to community policing. It is not an overstatement to say that this concept requires deep understanding. Whistler and Palmiotto in the book Community Policing, International Patterns and Comparative Perspectives, give a good comparison of the workability of community policing in different locations of the world. The author indicates the main reasons that would cause a community policing initiative to fail and the reasons that would make another community policing project to be successful. One vital thing emphasized is the integration of society and the superb relationship that prevails between the police and the community at large. These aspects of community policing and their ramifications are discussed in countries like Australia, India, Latin America, and the US. However, to the author, irrespective of the place, the social interactions play a vital role in ensuring the success of a single community policing plan. In this paper, the second last person to be discussed will be Lyons. In the book The Politics of Community Policing, Rearranging the Power to Punish, the author discusses the challenges that face community policing in terms of the politics that surround the whole idea. Since some mandate is given out to community leaders, there normally arise some questions as to who does what and the extent to which certain persons' actions may be taken to pass. It is therefore essential that roles and responsibilities in community policing be set out clearly to avoid collisions and any other likely challenges. Lastly, Wyckoff and Community Policing in Madison, Quality from the Inside Out. An evaluation of implementation and impact, the author focuses on Madison and community policing in practice in that place. The attributes of great community policing are set out as those that will minimize cases of crime at an efficient yet effective rate. Implementation of a plan is discussed and the gains to be realized thereof. Some anticipated challenges like racial discrepancies are discussed by the author. The partnership is meant to get to certain set targets that need to be clear to the groups of people that are involved. In conclusion, community policing has far-reaching and even immeasurable benefits. Care has to be taken when utilizing this method to ensure that the security of the community is not compromised further. There needs to be a proper plan and strategy in place that will be followed up with the proper organization, staffing, controlling, directing, and communication.